Okay, one more task to go in this section, and that's just to display a popover of the attendees for each of these activity attendees. So we'll go back to VS Code, let's just clean things up at the top. And what we'll do, inside our features folder, let's create a new folder for a new feature, and we'll call it profiles. And inside the profile folder, we'll create a new file, and we're going to create a profile card.tsx. And inside here, we'll just import React from React, and we'll say export default function, and we'll say profile card, and we're going to pass in the profile as a prop here. So what we'll also do is create an interface called props, and we'll say profile is of type profile, and then we'll specify profile as a type here and just say props. And what we'll also do is make this an observer as well, because our profile is originally going to come from our store, so we'll wrap an observer around the function. And what we're going to return from this is a card, because it's a profile card, and we'll use semantic UI for this. And our card will specify as a link, and we're going to go to, and then we'll open curly brackets, backticks, /profiles, /profile.username, and we'll have an image in this card, and we'll say the source equals profile.image, or we'll use our placeholder and we'll say assets /user.png. And then we need some card content, so we'll say card.content and add the closing tag, and we'll have a card.header, and this will be our profile.displayname, and below this we'll have a card.description, and we'll just say hardcode bio goes here. We don't have this at the moment. And below the card content, we'll add card.content, and we'll specify extra. And in here, we'll just add an icon and say name equals user. And we'll just hard code in 20 followers, because this will contain followers information eventually. And what we want to do is make this a pop-up, so that when somebody hovers over one of those attendees, then they'll see this profile card. So what we'll do is we'll open up the activity list item attendee, and inside here what we're going to do, underneath the attendees map, we're going to add a pop-up that we get from semantic UI React. And to use this, we need to give it some properties, and we want to make this hoverable, so that when somebody hovers over the attendee, then they're going to see this pop-up. We need to give it a key, because this is the top element in the map function that we're using. So we'll give it attendee.username, and we need to give it a trigger, and this is going to be effectively our list item. So we'll open curly brackets for this, and then we'll cut and paste in the list item here. And then inside the pop-up itself, we need to give it some pop-up.content, and then as the content, we're going to pass in our profile card, and we're going to specify profile equals attendee. And that's all we need. So what we should be able to do is go back to our browser. We should be able to refresh this page. And if we hover over any of our list items, we can see the card for the individual users. And that's what we're looking for. A minor complaint is that the image, the circular image, doesn't look like quite to be a circle in our activity list items. So we'll also adjust that whilst we're here. And we'll open up our activity list item. And what we'll do is we'll just give our image a bit of style here. So we'll say style and say margin bottom equals 3 or :3. And spell it correctly as well would help. So margin bottom of 3, and if we go back and take a look, now we've got circular images again. And we're done for this section. So let's make sure we haven't left anything nasty in the console. I can see some warnings there, and it's telling us in our activity form we've got one unused import. So let's go and take a look at that, and we'll open up the activity form, and there it is. We're not using that anymore. And I can also see we've got another one in here for the loading, which we're not using anymore either. So let's remove that. And let's just go back and double check the browser, make sure there's nothing else left behind. And that looks good. A clean console. So now we're done with this section. What we'll do is we'll stage and send our changes up to source control. So I'm just going to stage all the changes, and we'll say end of section 15. And then just go ahead and push these on up to GitHub, and we'll finish off with a summary.